If you've ever refreshed your bank account for the 5th time in an hour, or laying awake calculating whether the next check will arrive before the next bill, you know a specific kind of anxiety. It's not the anxiety of not having enough money right now. It's the anxiety of not knowing when the next money will arrive. And it eats at something in you that the number in your account can't quite reach. This video is for everyone who has lived with that. Freelancers, gig workers, contractors, artists, anyone whose income doesn't arrive on a predictable schedule. And I want to be careful about something before we go any further. Some of what you feel is a rational response to genuine material uncertainty. If the check doesn't come, real things happen. Rent, food, health. That anxiety is not a mental error to be fixed. It is your mind doing its job. But there is another layer underneath that anxiety that Adler and the Stoics both point at directly. And it's the part we can actually change, because it's not really about the money. There are two kinds of money anxiety that feel identical from the inside, but are actually completely different. Confusing them is the reason so many people who solve their financial situation still don't feel better. The first is material anxiety. It's proportionate to real conditions. When rent is due and the check hasn't come, your body produces a specific stress response. And that response is doing something intelligent, mobilizing you to solve a real problem. This kind of anxiety usually reduces as material conditions change. When the check arrives, you feel better. When you build a reserve, you feel steadier. The anxiety is tracking reality. The second is identity anxiety. It uses money as a proxy for something else. Safety, worth, freedom, the fear of being seen as a failure, and it does not reduce when the material conditions improve. This is why people who become genuinely wealthy often report that the anxiety they thought money would fix is still there, because it wasn't really about the money. Almost everyone hearing this has both kinds. The tricky part is that you can't fix the second one by treating it like the first. You can't out-earn identity anxiety. You can't build enough of a reserve to satisfy it. It moves the goalpost every time you approach it, because the goalpost was never really about the number. Alfred Adler had a way of thinking about this that I found more useful than any financial advice I've encountered. He argued that every person carries what he called a private logic, an unconscious system of meaning that determines what things represent to them. And money, for almost everyone, is doing symbolic work in that private logic. It isn't just money. It's standing in for something else. For some people, money represents safety. The private logic is, if I have enough of it, nothing bad can happen to me. If I don't, I am one bad month away from disaster. This is often, but not always, the pattern for people who grew up in real material scarcity. For some people, money represents worth. The private logic is, how much I earn is a measurement of how much I am worth as a person. If I earn a lot, I am worthwhile. If I earn a little, I am not. This is often, but not always, the pattern for people whose caregivers link to love or approval to achievement. For some people, money represents freedom. The private logic is, once I have enough, I can finally live the way I actually want to. Until then, I am serving someone else's agenda. This is often, but not always, the pattern for people who feel trapped in work that doesn't fit them. Here's the crucial insight. Whichever door your private logic uses money to reach, safety, worth, freedom, or some other version, money is not the actual entrance to that door. It is a substitute for it, and substitutes never quite satisfy the original hunger. If money represents safety, no amount of it will make you feel truly safe, because the safety you're looking for is not the kind you can purchase. It's the internal capacity to be at peace with uncertainty. If money represents worth, no amount of it will convince you that you are worthy, because worth is not a number. If money represents freedom, no amount of it will fully free you, because the freedom you actually want is freedom from the private logic itself. The Stoics, including some who were quite wealthy, like Seneca, thought a lot about money and had two ideas that are genuinely useful here. The first is a psychological pattern that modern research has confirmed under the name hedonic adaptation. It's this: whatever level of money or material comfort you reach, your mind adjusts to it within a surprisingly short time and treats it as the new baseline. What felt like abundance becomes normal. Then it becomes not enough. and the next threshold appears. This is why raises, when they come, feel wonderful for about 6 weeks and then feel like the amount you always earned. It's why the freelancer who once dreamed of hitting a specific monthly income and finally hits it starts thinking about the next one. Not because you're greedy, because that is what human minds do with numbers over time. The number you need to feel secure or successful is not a fixed target. It is a moving one, and it moves at the same speed you move. The Stoic response to this is not to try harder to hit the number. It is to notice that the goalpost is moving, and to stop treating each new goalpost as if it were the last one. Seneca was blunt about this. He said, in effect, if you can't be content with what you have, you will not be content with more. The problem is not the amount, the problem is the treadmill. The second Stoic tool is the dichotomy of control. Epictetus divided everything in life into 2 categories: what is up to us and what is not up to us. Applied to money, this means something specific and useful. Your effort is up to you. Your skill development is up to you. Your discipline and how you manage what you have is up to you. Whether the check arrives on time, whether the client hires you, whether the economy holds, these are not up to you, and treating them as if they were is a source of enormous suffering. This is not resignation. It is a form of clarity. When you know which tasks are actually yours, you can put your full energy into them. When you know which are not, you can stop torturing yourself for outcomes you were never in position to control. The unpredictable check is not a failure of your effort. It is a feature of the kind of work you've chosen or the kind of situation you are in. And doing your task well is what you can actually do about it. The Stoics had a third practice worth naming quickly. It's called negative visualization. The practice is this: occasionally, deliberately imagine what you have being taken away. Not to induce anxiety, you already have plenty of that, but to break the pattern of taking it for granted. You have some form of shelter tonight, some form of food today. That is not nothing. Negative visualization is what makes it visual again. Here's what none of this fixes. If the check has not come, the check has not come. If rent is due, rent is due. This video will not solve the material problem. Real anxiety about real conditions requires real solutions, and those are yours to work out with the specific circumstances of your life. What this can do is separate the 2 anxieties that you have almost certainly been carrying as one. The material anxiety, which is doing intelligent work and will reduce when conditions change, and the identity anxiety, which will not reduce with any amount of money because it was never really about money. It was about safety or worth or freedom or some other thing that money cannot actually purchase. The Adlerian and Stoic answer is not to earn your way out. It is to see clearly what money is representing in your private logic, to notice the treadmill of hedonic adaptation, to hold on to what is up to you, and to release what isn't, and to see what you have right now in this moment clearly enough that it stops being invisible. You don't need more money to have a better relationship to money. Those are 2 separate projects, both worth doing, but the second one is available to you today, regardless of what the check does. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and if you found any of this useful, check out the books linked below, and we'll see you next time.